Hello and welcome to the 23rd MPA Feedback livestream. My name is Blay and today I'm doing this on my own because apparently my fellow feedback stream hosts did forget when this was going to go live. Which might be because, as you've all noticed, probably not all of you, but we've had to move the start time for the feedback stream back, which doesn't explain the judges missing at all. It's actually the other way around. But well, I guess that happened. Yeah, so we had to cancel last week's stream, which would have been the first stream to go live at this new time, which is 1 hour later than before, unless you're in one of the daylight saving time zones, which are now back to the standard time. Then for you, nothing changes, which is what it's like for me, which is part of the reason why we moved it back, because I would have been unable to do it, because for me, now it would have been 1 hour earlier. So, well, that's the situation. Last week we had to cancel the stream because we only had one single submission, which was very, very sad. But anyway, so today's stream is probably going to be short unless the other judges, not judges, but unless the other stream hosts join me later on, which is probably not going to happen. But anyway, we got 5 submissions for today. So we'll just see how this goes. All right. So I'm going to let's just jump right into the first submission, which is going to be SZR and FOG Journey by SuperZrussell. Have fun. All right. That was Journey by SuperZrussell or SuperZrussell and Fox of Galaxy. Fog. Yes. So I'm going to read what SuperZrussell, what message he left us, which goes as follows. This is another collaborative with Fox of Galaxy and I. Enjoy and feel to give any pointers. All right. I'm going to do just that. Actually, it's a bit difficult for me probably to give a couple of pointers because because I really liked it. I'm gonna give a couple of pointers, but I really liked it. I think the production quality was very impressive. I think it is. Oh, sorry, she. I'm sorry. I usually don't use any pronouns when I address people. I should have. It's the first time I didn't. It's the first time I didn't, and it's already wrong. That's why I don't do it. Anyway, so this is. All right, I'm gonna go back to what I was saying. I don't even know if it's correct. I don't know. I'm confused. I think. No, I'm just confused now. Anyway, SuperZrussell, they submitted it. I'm gonna play it safe here. Yes. Okay, couple of pointers. Yeah, here we go. I really liked it. I think the production quality was very impressive. I think it is one of the. I think it's one of the best things I've heard coming from them. I don't know how this work was split up between Fox of Galaxy or SuperZrussell. And Archestic was apparently kidding, but I'm staying with they for now because it's neutral, so who cares? I was thinking as this is what the one time I'm alone and I have no one here with me to correct me on anything. Of course, you guys are gonna do this. I'm gonna keep things neutral though. Anyway, yes. Keep losing my point too. It's just great. I'm just not gonna read the chat now. No, yes, I don't know how the work was split up between Fox of Galaxy and SuperZrussell or SuperZrussell and Fox of Galaxy. Whoever, I don't know who did what, who did more or less. If you even can say it like that, But I was very surprised by the quality. Not surprised in that I would have expected it to be bad, but I was surprised by a couple of things which I'm usually not used to hearing a lot from either of the two. Although with SuperZrussell, there's more of that usually, which is that there actually was quite a bit of variety in where things went. So melodies and chords did not always end up in the same place. You had a bit of a variety there. The structure itself had a lot of variety, which I think was really great. So it didn't just stay on the one single idea, although you kept it within the original idea. And you had a bit of a variety in the melodies themselves as well. So really good. I think yeah, there isn't much I could actually tell you there. I think it's really decent. I think it's something that would work really, really well for a number of applications in clubs, on the radio, and things like that. It's sort of what I'd expect from a professionally made EDM track. I don't know the exact genre because that's not my specialty. Gonna sip a bit of water here because today I got no downtime to do it otherwise. Yeah, very impressive. I would say though, the vocals didn't really come through. I don't know if they were supposed to. I don't know if they were from a pack, if you recorded them, or if they even were supposed to be really understood or anything like that. I just think if they were, then I would have liked it if they would have come through a bit better, because they were difficult to read. I'm not going to talk too much about the mastering because today I am not, like usually the streams I'm not doing from my studio, so I don't have any of my analyzing tools with me, so I couldn't tell you any specifics. I had to push this one down quite a bit, so maybe do a quick check for the true peak ceiling and a quick check for the lowest readout. But other than that, I think you're fine. I don't have many things to criticize here. It's not my strong genre, but to me this sounds like anything I'd hear on the radio today, which I don't hear a lot of, but so just take it with a grain of salt. I think it's fine. I like it. I think you have some things going on there. As always, I would like even more variety, but this is totally within the genre. It's it works within the genre that it represents, so to say. But yeah, I also really like the pedal note in that one section near the end where you had this harsh ducking of the audio. We had a small arpeggio in the background. I like that. That's really nice. Not a lot of people seem to do that sort of thing nowadays with the pedal note being held. Anyway, it's a minor detail, but I just liked it. It was a nice little touch. All right, so really good job. Good production quality. I couldn't tell you too much about some of the you could have used a different compressor type or something, because that's really not my strong point. Gonna be completely honest. I wish someone like Guild was here. He's more working with sound design aspects in that sense, in EDM sense, and these technical kind of things. Also retrograde, but yeah, I liked it. Good. Yeah, well done. Don't like the cover art that much, but you know, who cares? I care, but all right. Moving on to our next submission, which is going to be Shadow by Chika M. I did not get a new picture for this one from you, Chika, because it was there was some difficulties with getting that again. So I just used your profile picture from Amino. I hope that's okay. We'll see. Don't sue us. It's our own fault. All right. Shadow by Chika M. Have fun.
You and I cannot hide from the truth you think is a lie, and I know what you told to her and your lover. Now I can't run. I'm bleeding in my head. But now I can't run. Wasn't prepared for this. You're the perfect toxic lover in the making. You are always victim, blame it. But I knew this was gonna happen, but you acted like it was nothing, and now I'm dancing with the shadow. Now I'm alone. Now I'm dancing with the shadow.
All right, that was Shadow by Chika M. Abrupt ending there, but anyway. Okay, so Chika did not produce this, but only sang it. I don't know how far. I don't know what how far into production she was involved with this. If it was the songwriting, but Chika is here, so she could answer this. I don't know. So did you songwrite this, or did you just sing it? So is it more like you were hired to sing it, or something like that? I'm gonna wait for the answer here real quick. It's gonna take about 7 to 15 seconds for people to hear what I'm saying, and then respond. So there's always a bit of a delay there. And there's the answer. So Chika said that she wrote it too. All right, that's good to know. Yes. Okay. So I'm not going to talk about the production factor, of course, because that's not by you. But you sang and wrote it. Okay. Unfortunately, Radium isn't here. She would probably have a lot to say about the singing itself. You also said it's old. I always don't really like it when people submit older tracks to the feedback streams, because we don't know what they've already improved. I mean, we do know in the case of Chika, but usually we don't know that. And then we give them feedback and they're like, well, I already know that and now it's better, but we don't know that. And with this, it's still, even though we know what you know now, there isn't a lot I could tell you that you don't already know. So I could point you back to one of our earlier streams, probably. We've already submitted something, and you know what I was going to say. So to this, I'm just going to say the usual. It's just repeating what we usually say. It's an old track too, so what else can I add to it? Work on the singing, but I do know that you already have worked on your singing, so that's obsolete. I can't say anything about the production. I can say maybe the songwriting. I think it's just like always. I think you're pretty good at it. Yeah, what am I supposed to tell you? It's old. So yeah, sorry, Chika. There's. I'm super sorry. I'd really love to tell you more, but it only really works with older things. Anyway, yes, actually we're getting Guild here now, so I'm gonna say hello to Guild. We're already on stream, so hi Guild, welcome. You're 20 minutes late, technically 50 minutes, but who cares? Hi Guild.
Okay. Hey, hello. Sorry about that.
All right. So yeah, so the stream just listened to Chika's track, which is an old submission, and I just told her that there isn't really much we could say about old things, because they're old and things have already improved, and that's just how it is. I'm really sorry, Chika. But I think yeah, I don't know. Gail, did you hear Chika's submission?
Actually, I did not hear it. I'm still pulling it up.
Yeah, yeah.
How's my mic levels?
Oh, it's fine. I'm leveling it out as we go.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what happened. This is the same time we normally do it. Then, so I thought we pushed it back an hour, but it must be.
So we're both in a place where we have daylight savings. So then for us it just stays the same. The pushing it back. UTC does not have daylight savings. So we're technically on the same time as always, but if looking at it from a perspective that does not adjust for daylight savings, then it's actually pushed back. But if you're not in a place that is pushed back an hour later, then we're on the same time.
I see.
So that's probably where the confusion came from.
For sure.
So basically, you pushed it back. In your head, you were pushing it back 1 hour, but it ended up being 2 hours. All right. But anyway, let's just move on to the next track. I'm super sorry, Chika. We can do next week, though. And you can submit the other one that you submitted actually for today, which we then changed. I would have loved to talk about that one, actually. But I don't know why you didn't want to submit that one. But, submit it for next week, fix some things. I think you probably figured out that there were some problems with that. But I'm going to challenge you. Challenge time. Challenging one of the members. Chika, here's my official challenge for you. Submit that track for next week and don't change it. Just submit it for once and be happy. And we'll talk about it. Because you always resubmit something and you end up hating it and you wish you'd had submitted the other one. So do that. Submit it, and then that's it. And we'll talk about it, and it'll be great, and it'll be fun, and all the stream hosts will be here because we've cleared out the time mess. Anyway, moving on.
Where's
yes?
Radium? Any sign for
I
Radium?
have no idea. It's us two now. It's better than just me because I was lost, and I'm still sort of lost. But anyway, moving on to Moving by Granddad had Mojo. Very interesting title. I don't know what's going on there. All right, have fun. Moving. Granddad had Mojo. Enjoy. All right, that was Moving by Granddad Had Mojo. All right, so I'm gonna read the message Granddad left us before going to the others. Finally, Radium's here too. So here's the message. No saxes were killed while making this project. Granddad had Mojo. Okay. So what did you guys think, or what did you think, Guild? Because Radium didn't hear it yet; she just came in. What did you think, Guild?
I really enjoyed this. Okay, so yeah, sorry everybody, I was late. Just a misunderstanding, or I just was confused with the times. Completely my fault. I actually was doing the A&R streams all week too. An hour later, and I probably pushed them back to the normal time then too. I wanted to have this stream at the same time every day. But anyways, that being said, I'm glad I was able to come in and hear this track. Granddad had Mojo. I'd say he still has Mojo. I really enjoyed this. It was really a good mix, except for one thing that was just obviously just way too loud, which was the white noise sweeps. He could have fixed those either by, I mean, they needed to be turned down regardless, I think, but you could have easily just sidechained them and had that really pumping white noise thing, which is so, is what most people expect to hear when they hear that anyways. Like just a big blast of white noise. It's best to kind of somehow give that some movement, like something like that. But also you could have just turned it down. You don't always have to sidechaining, but if it was a lot quieter, it could have just been a background sweep. But it was so loud, especially right there at the end. It just seems like it would have overtaken the whole limiter, the mastering bus and everything. It would have just, that white noise would have just smashed everything. So I don't know. That's what I heard. But the rest of it was just it was a groove. It was a really good groove and like mixed, like nice sounds. Like, sometimes you can have a good groove, but the sound and the mix is just not as warm or as, as pleasing to the ears. But this one was a long, like drawn out, like repetitive, like groove, but didn't seem to be too repetitive because it was nice to listen to. So that big blast of white noise came in or whatever it was. No, but I really enjoyed it, and I enjoy a lot of your stuff. I'm used to hear your last few submissions to things were more live jams, and the recording, like the mix in the recording, was not necessarily the focus. It was more about like, hey, I'm performing in like this virtual world, or I'm doing this an actual performance guitar and harmonica or something. This was cool to hear, this like more studio quality thing, and I think you did a really good job on the mix down for the most part. What do you think, Blay?
Yeah. I think it had the classic Granddad got Mojo sound to it, the classic bongos and the rhythm, stuff like that. I really like it. A bit disappointed because I mean, I shouldn't be. I don't know why I was expecting it. Granddad specifically said that there were no saxes killed while making this, but I was still like expecting a saxophone somewhere.
I would leave. If I read that first, I would have thought so too.
Yeah. I was totally expecting a crazy saxophone solo or something. It's like, oh my god.
He's saying he would have had to kill a saxophone in order to do that.
Yeah. I was so hoping that that's a joke and a saxophone was actually killed in the making of it, but that didn't happen. Anyway, I would have loved that. That would have been great. Yeah. No, but, it's the classic Granddad got Mojo or had Mojo. I don't know what's going on. At first I thought a Mojo, there's a word for like a small cabin or something, for like a cottage. I don't know. There's a word that has a similar ring to it, like Mojo. I forgot what it was called, but I thought moving. So maybe Granddad is moving, so he had a Mojo. But Mojo, I googled it because I really wasn't sure and I forgot the name. I couldn't find out what I meant. So I thought Granddad was moving, but I don't know. That's just me being weird and thinking too much into things. So I don't know what's going on. Anyway, no. I think there's a number of things. I think Guild mentioned the mastering in this one, of the mixing in this one, being good while we were listening to it. And I think it is definitely a mostly balanced mix. I feel that some of the sounds were really upfront and really loud, especially all the white noise things and some of the glitching and other sound effects. They were really harsh and really Yeah, I think they could have gone. You could have put them down a lot more actually. I think they were a bit too loud and too upfront. You could have done sidechaining like Gil said, but I think I would have just brought it down altogether a bit. And yes, saxophone definitely needs more saxophone. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not too sure about how well the harmony works in the very first couple of seconds. I was a bit surprised there, but that's a whole other discussion. Anyway, yeah. Normally we'd move on to Radium now, but I think Radium did not hear this one, so you can't say anything to it. Anyway, classic got Mojo sound. Definitely something we've heard a couple of times now on the stream. The classic bongo rhythm thing. I don't know what to call it. There's probably a specific name for this exact rhythm, but I like it. I think it's nice. But in my opinion, you should bring down the white noise things a bit. They were a bit harsh in my opinion. And more saxophone. I can't say it often enough. More saxophone. Anyway, okay, should we move on? I already said the stream is going to be short. We have 2 more submissions. I don't think we can stretch it any longer, though.
Yeah, let's go ahead and move on. And again, I apologize. Next week we will be back, nice and strong, full team.
This is the warm-up stream. Yeah, this is the warm-up stream for having a cancel last week. Okay. Yeah. All right, let's move on then. Our next track, our next submission is going to be Senses by Archestic. Have fun. All right. That was Senses by Archestic. All right, I'm going to read Archestic's note real quick, which he left us, or which she left us, Archestic. That's for earlier. It's nice to. Oh, you'll get it later, Guild. You have to watch the stream again. Archestic was messing with me, telling me
Okay.
that SuperZrussell, SuperZrussell's pronouns are she, and I got really confused. And I kept losing my point. Anyway, so here's Archestic's note that Archestic left us. It's nice to go back to producing after a month break. Just write it properly. I hope to create many more stuff like this, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry, Archestic. Okay. Yes. Sorry. Okay. So that's Archestic's note. Welcome back to producing. Welcome back to MPA. Haha. All right. So what did you think, Guild? What did you think of Senses?
All right. So, yeah, and I mean, honestly, to start, it is good to take a month off sometimes, so it can really come back and help your production and everything. So, at least you didn't take like a year off like some people do or longer. So I really like this. I was anticipating this track because you mentioned you were working on a bass house track, and you wanted me to listen to the demo earlier, but I never got around to it. So I was excited to come and listen to this today. Bass house is one of my favorite genres right now. I mean, I've always any kind of bass music, even outside of electronic, is one of my favorite styles. I just love bass, and I definitely love when it comes to electronic because there's so many subgenres. If you go a little deeper, you can notice that a certain handful of those subgenres are classified as bass music. You know, emphasizing on the drum and bass house, dubstep, trap, all that stuff is bass music, mumbo tone, stuff like that. Anyway, so bass house is one of my favorite in that category, in that subgenre. It's like kind of like the only house I listen to now. A little bit of tech house still, but mainly bass house. So that being said, I would say you did a really good job. I think if you're gonna push it, I see Hensel saying this is your best track. I don't know if this is your best track. I've definitely heard some of your other progressive house, future house stuff that it's probably a little bit more produced at that level of like really just quality and like being finished and like being able to compete at that 2020 standard, as I always refer to. I've heard some of your stuff that's up there. This is for bass house. It seems still a little. I'm not gonna use the word weak because I don't want you to just go smash the limiter, and I know you know what you're doing, so you're not just gonna go do that. But if you go listen to a lot of bass house, especially Jaws is bass house, but like Joyride and Tokyo Machine and some of these other people, it's a little snappier. It's more like what you would hear from dubstep, but on a house track. This is still very future house and mixed with bass house. So again, that's all besides the point if you're really not trying to target a specific genre, because who cares when it comes to just an average listener listening to this? They don't really care exactly. Is it a bass track? Is it in between future house and bass house or whatever? It doesn't matter. This is like an Archestic bass house track. It does have your signature sounds, I think, your signature style mixed in with what you would hear on a bass. I don't know if it's like 126 BPM or what was this? I'm not sure. But it definitely seems like you kind of found your twist on bass house. But no, really good job. I would like to see you do some more bass house. Maybe do a little bass house EP, the Archestic bass house EP. Something like that. That'd be really cool. So good job. I really enjoyed it. Again, I would just maybe add some snappier transits on some of the bass sounds, or when it goes up to the other lead sounds, which is really not a bass sound. I don't know. It just a couple little stutters and wobbles here and there in the bass, and is the bass house I would used to listen to, but it doesn't really make it or break it. You know what I mean? I'll pass it over to Blake. What do you think?
All right. Yeah. So I think I agree. I think it's as usual. You have a pretty good production quality. Sort of as always. I think that's to be expected by Archestic from now. That the production quality is usually fine. And we don't have too much to say about it. Except you mentioned that some of the transits could be a bit different. Though that's not really production quality. That's more choice and style.
Right.
But I believe, though I don't know how it is for the electronic peeps. Anyway, but I think it was fits within the Archestic arsenal of music within the there's a nice word for it which I forgot now. Today is the word of forgetting. Today is the day of forgetting words, not the word of forgetting days. Anyway, it is what it is. Anyway, yeah. No, I think it was fine. I liked. I think the melody is pretty. I think the melody played by this main thing, flute thing with all the ornaments and things. I don't know what it is. It's whatever it is, you know. I think the melody is pretty memorable. So I think people would probably recognize this, though it does remind me of something else. But I can't put my finger on it. What it is. I feel like I've heard it somewhere with this sound or a similar sound too. But I really don't know where or when or if I'm just imagining things. And this is the Matrix, and I don't know. I'm having a deja vu. But
Definitely the Matrix.
yeah. I think the melody is in and of itself it's a good start, but I really would wish there to be some variety. I'd really change up the melody a bit, either with this instrument or some other one. You'd have some bits and pieces sprinkled throughout the piece here and there and things, you know. But it's all more a bit chopped up and in different places. You don't really have this long leading melody except in that quiet part near the end. The bass was doing a bit of a longer melody, though it was really more the support for the harmony. You could call it a longer melody line though, but still very very basic. So I'd really like a long flowing, long lasting and changing melody. I mean, I always say that to everyone. I think it would be really good in EDM, but unfortunately, a lot of EDM producers don't do that or can't do it. I don't know, whichever it is, but you know, who cares? So I changed it up, at least at the second time it comes around near the end. I'd change it up, have a variation of the theme, so to say, the main motive, so to say, which could still be basic or simple, but would give some resolve, some resolution to what was established. Because to me, the biggest problem with EDM music is usually that there isn't really a story being told. So it's just, it starts, then there's this, then there's usually a drop.
So where's the drop? Where's the drop?
It sort of starts, then there's like a drop, then you have this moment of, oh, now it's quiet and a bit mysterious, or now it's quiet and a bit sad, and then you have, or not even sad, but it's just slightly more emotional, and then you have leading up to another drop, and then it sort of ends. But you didn't really tell a story. The melody didn't really change. It was more a structure of elements, but not really the telling of a story. So I'd look into that, but it is difficult. It is something many big, not big, but many decently established film composers can't even do. Hint, hint. But you know, I'm being mean again. Anyway, no, but I like that the Archestic style comes through a bit more clearly during the quieter part near the end, which I just mentioned. I think that's nice. We can definitely, for my part at least, I can definitely hear the Archestic style in this, which I think you definitely have, and I think that's really good. And just keep on doing it, keep on doing more. You tried something new, I think it worked. I'd suggest trying more with melody, but you know, we'll see about that. I hope Radium has finished her notes, her note taking. I don't know if she's taking notes today. I don't know, Radium, if you hear this. If not, then we can do. Oh, actually, Radium is here.
Radium.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello.
I'm not done with my notes, but I think I'm just gonna wing it.
You can do it.
Let me just move my mic. Okay. Welcome back, Archestic. Let's start with that. Let's start with a positive Can't wait to see what you do in the community and with your music because it seems like you're trying new things, which is always great and recommended actually to try new things.
Yeah,
For your
it's
track,
good.
I'll be blunt, it didn't have any effect on me. I wasn't listening intensely because I was doing something else,
Your
quote unquote.
senses weren't being stimulated.
Yeah, I was waiting for vocals to be honest, some kind of vocal stuff. But I'll let Radium. This is Radium's turn. I already had my turn. This is Radium's turn.
Have you seen the way I'm getting interrupted, people? Okay, I'm kidding, but yeah, seriously. I wasn't listening to the track intensely. I was doing something else and it was like a background song. And it's such a weird it's so weird because like I wasn't listening to the song really, but at the same time, I only remember the little lead melody that was like on loop for a while. So that's really interesting, and it got me thinking about something. It's like a catchy song does not mean your song is gonna draw someone towards your music. I'm going all philosopher right now, but that's the thing that made me think about it. It's like it takes more than just a catchy hook or a catchy chorus to get for a song to be interesting. Because I mean, your song at the moment for me, it's like an earworm, like it's stuck in my head, but I would never ever. Oh, that's harsh. Okay, but I wouldn't go back and listen to it. So yeah, so like my main impression is it sounds empty to me. There wasn't much that was memorable. If it's especially since it's a song that's in the background as I'm not doing anything serious, and all I remember is two things: the melody loop and in the beginning there was like this random moment when it felt like the end of the music phrase was changing, and that's all I remember. I don't even remember how it goes. I just remember it changed, and that's it. So it's like your song is very empty at the moment. It's not. There were not many elements for me, at least, that made me want to listen intensely. It's really like it's like when the radio is playing and you don't give a shit that the radio is playing. It's just there. So yeah, that's like my main, most important impression about your track. Yeah.
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 Cool. I mean, oh, go ahead, Blaine. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. No, so I was just gonna make a silly joke that the senses were not stimulated. Anyway, stupid. Yes, no, I think it's interesting. I think it's definitely true that catchy does not equal. No, it doesn't equal good, of course, but it also doesn't equal that it is necessarily memorable. Even if it is the earworm, it's usually something you don't really go to seek out. You know, it's something you want to get rid of. It's like that one repeating element that gets stuck in your head, and you kind of want it just to go away. I'm not saying that's what it is for me with your track, Archestic. I wouldn't be so rude on stream.
Are you sure?
Yeah. No, but I think that's something to keep in mind, definitely. And I think it's actually going back to what I said about it being catchy, but there isn't really a lot happening with it. So there's no real resolve. There's no resolution. No real progression of this story. So it's not really being told. So I think that's definitely something to consider and to work on, because the one catchy bit, doesn't guarantee that it really is saying that much at all. And I, for one, talking about naming your tracks, titling your tracks, and finding cover art for them. First of all, I find the cover art you choose for your music is usually a bit empty, and I'm finding the same with this one. Again, it's very empty. It's very it doesn't really invoke any sort of emotion in me, the cover art, and so too I feel the title doesn't really tell me much. I think that's something you should. I think that's something you should work on. I'm not the kind of person to say, you know, I'm not the kind of person to say, I'm looking at music right now, but for me it's the all the facade stuff is important, stuff like that, and but the packaging is nice, not that kind of person. But if you have nice music and everything else isn't matching, then something's wrong, and there's a disconnect there. So that's really important too. And me being a very visually thinking person, always trying to not trying to, but just naturally imagining and seeing images in my head when I hear music. That's something that's missing for me with this, and the picture, the cover art and the title isn't really helping me with establishing that. So that's just something to think about. And I think it's actually all going back to this catchy thing. You have this one catchy element, but the other elements are not really in tune with that. Just something to think about, I think. Do you think?
I mean, I'll say something real quick. That I really did enjoy the track, though. I mean, no one's here saying it's bad. I would just compare it to your other tracks. Compared it to your other tracks, we definitely know that you are. I mean, I've heard people literally say the words they're invested in you and stuff as a producer. So it's like everyone knows you're really good. For a bass house attempt, I listened to a lot of bass house again, and there's a lot of good bass house out there. So yeah, in comparison, there's still room for creativity. And I would just say what I think it is. If you listen to most bass house tracks, the one main thing that they're really calling back to, other than the floor to the floor, is classic classic house vocals, which is 90s vocals, like 90s, like almost like jam rock style vocals. Like if that's any bass house track, not all of them need it, but you could really just add it, like, it's not like a full vocal on vocal track. It's like those, just house music. When you hear vocals in classic Chicago house, is those same kind of vocal steps do really well in bass house. It gives it that classic vibe, but with the whole modern twist of the serum synths and all that other stuff. So that's something. So you don't definitely, this track is really good, but if you want to, like, well, what is that thing that it's missing? They're all talking about it just needs something else. I mean, honestly, the formula, calls in most tracks is just this, and a vocal step or a vocal hook or a vocal this. And this one didn't really have anything. Not that all tracks need it, but you could add vocals to this easily. But again, compared to other bass house tracks, it's not like every bass house track that has made it to the market also tells a perfect story. Sometimes it is just a cookie cutter DJ track, like a lot of electronic jams. So you don't have to do too much to make it acceptable by DJs. But if you want to push the boundaries and move the genre forward, definitely should tell more of a story, or at least get a vocals in there, hook in there, or something that reference senses, like the title, and it ties it to the song a little bit more or something. But feelings. I'm playing. Shall we move on?
Yes, let's move on. Our next and final submission for today is going to be Addicted, a WIP, work in progress instrumental by Michael Elton. Have fun. All right. That was Addicted, a work in progress instrumental by Michael Elton. Um, all right. All right. So I'm gonna read Michael Elton's note that they left us, which goes as follows: the forgetting of that's a different message. I was reading a joke that that I posted in the chat, which just says the forgetting of wording days. Because of my stupid hiccup earlier. Anyway, okay, here's Michael Elton's message. It's an whip and an instrumental version. There will be vocals recorded later. In total, this took about 5 hours to produce. Michael Elton. All right. So what did you guys think, Guild?
I mean, my favorite thing about it was the stereo imaging. Not that it would necessarily have worked in all situations, mono, because I didn't test it in mono or anything like that. It could have been just fine in mono, who knows. It was a very wide panning, which you do get from some of these classic genres that I know Michael Elton references a lot and stuff. But to me, and then there was just things going on. It almost seemed like this was like if you were in the studio and you had the full track playing, and then all of a sudden you muted like half the tracks, and that was like you just like left a bunch of like side material and like atmospheric things and other little things that were not really supposed to be the lead at all. Like there was nothing lead. There was no lead in this. Not even a drum like downbeat for the drums or nothing. It was all like spatial material to me, and not that it was bad necessarily. It was just like almost seemed like it was missing too much. And then I wasn't a big fan of the chord progression at all. It just kind of seemed like a little, I don't know. It didn't seem pretty. You know, it wasn't a pretty chord progression or anything. Maybe you weren't going for a pretty track, but you know, it didn't like invoke any like emotions. The chord progression didn't. It just seemed like I could have, or someone, you don't even have to touch anything in this track. You could have just added the flair, added more to it, just like a lead, a downbeat, a drum beat, a snare, and a kick, maybe some vocal. You could have added all the other things in and maybe actually turned this into something. But I still think it was just kind of, it seems it's a whip. So whip instrumental is a work in progress. So he's definitely not finished with it. I would honestly say it doesn't sound like it's anywhere close to being finished. So, but there are some neat ideas. It didn't sound like anything I've ever heard before, and that's that. You know, it's usually a pretty good start when you're trying to make something unique and original. So, yeah, I mean, some nice textures in there, but I just feel like the chord progression needs some work, and it needs other elements to really finish it off. So, what about you, Blayhub? What do you think?
Yes. All right. Yeah. No, it did feel very empty, but I think you did have some interesting rhythmic ideas in this here and there. You know, you had these moments where you know da 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 da. That's interesting. You know, that's an interesting idea. It's there's some variety there rhythmically. So good job on that. Actually, interesting rhythmic patterns here and there. I did have a couple of issues with it. I mean, what Guild already said. Of course, it does feel relatively empty. I mean, you did mention there was going to be vocals there, which I'm very interested to hear actually. Hoping this is gonna give a bit more context in terms of where it's going melodically, because that really wasn't. You didn't really have melody. It was more a bit of a backing track, definitely. But I think from what was there, I think definitely you should work on bringing in a more clear, bringing any structure of sorts, because to me it didn't really seem like you had you really knew where you wanted to go. So you had there were definitely moments where it was clear where you had a clear and defined goal. I want to go there, but that sort of just kept repeating. So the overall track or song, it's gonna be probably the overall song to me did not feel like it really had a goal. I'm not sure how to feel about the title either. Addicted. It's probably going to make more sense in context with the lyrics and in the vocals. But I wonder if I'm not sure where you're going with this. This could actually work. But right now it's a bit it's not a bit, it's very confusing. So I think it's best to just, talk in terms of technicalities and stuff like technical things, the production side of things, because I really don't know what you're trying to do with the harmony and with the melody. Some interesting rhythmic patterns in there, here and there, which then repeat and stuff, But yeah, I actually I don't really know what's going on. I mean, I'm going to talk about the obvious here. The sounds. Yeah, they're terrible. I don't take it personally or anything. It's the sounds you have to work with. But I wonder if you could somehow, if you could work a bit more with those and make them sound a bit more pleasing, give things a bit more space. I think Guild mentioned that. It's very dry. You could try adding some very light, very, very soft reverb on your master track or something to give things a bit more breathing room. And of course the sampled instruments, the software instruments, they don't really do you any favors there. So they're very basic. There isn't much you can change about those except getting different sounds, but you can still work with them a bit more mindfully of what they're able to achieve, what you would be able to achieve with them. So maybe keep that in mind. But really, there isn't much I could tell you because it's still in a very basic form. The track, the song, whatever you want to call it. But I think just working against the dryness, the sheer dryness and directness of everything, I think that's just something you could work against with a bit. Since it is a work in progress, I think these are things that you could very easily integrate or take on. And I'd also go looking for some other VSTs, other software instruments or virtual instruments, because maybe some things could work a bit better here and there. Mainly the brass, because the brass sounds really did sound super cheap, like a cheap keyboard. But it's what you have. It's what you have to work with. So it's totally fine. Just saying just saying any information I can think of. This isn't saying your music can only be good if you have nice sounds. That's ridiculous. Because this could as well just be a sketch for then later recording with an actual ensemble or something. So take it with a grain of salt. But judging from what I'm hearing, these are the things I would change or improve on, work on. But yeah, there isn't so much, as you can tell, I could say here. I don't want to talk about the harmony. I don't want to talk about the melody. There isn't really a melody, but I don't want to talk too much about the harmony because I don't know where you're really going with it. And I think some things might be more clear with vocals. I'm actually not too worried about the harmony. I'm just it's just out of context. Same goes for the downbeat Guild was talking about. To me, it was pretty clear where we were within the measure, if you want to say it like that, within the bar. But it is empty. Don't get me wrong; it is very empty. There's definitely the feeling of emptiness and elements lacking. I'm just trying to see it from a point of perspective of looking at it like, well, it's a work in progress. There's a lot of things obviously missing. So really all I can tell you is I do like some of the rhythmic ideas. Add a bit of reverb and finish the thing and show it to us again when it's all done. I'd be interested to hear what you can make out of this. It's the fundamentals. It's the scaffolding. Let's say it how it is. It's a scaffolding. It's not a track. It's very very early production, very early. So thank you for showing it to us. But I'm really interested to hear what Radium has to say. But I'd call it a scaffolding. Interested to hear where it's gonna go. But I think I gave Radium enough time to write down her notes this time.
No, you did not.
Damn it.
I'm on the roll. I was like, yes, I'm gonna write this, and then you're like, I give it, and you're like, oh, I give Radium enough time. No, you did not, teacher.
Damn it.
That's like school when you're not done with your exam and you have 15 minutes left to write a whole paragraph. Anyway, I'm gonna do what I do in the same situation in my exams. Wing it.
Yeah,
You can do it. You get a good score, I'm sure.
I mean, I actually do. So yeah. Okay. First of all, I just understood your name's meaning, and I'm not ashamed to say that it took me several minutes to understand as I was listening. Michael Elton. I just got it. It's your inspiration. Hopefully I'm right. Okay. Let me begin by saying that I have once compared a track to unseasoned chicken months ago, and I believe that the term is right to use for your song today.
Yes,
You have
unseasoned chicken.
given me dry chicken. There's no salt, there's no pepper, there's no seasoning. You overcooked it, and I'm sure you didn't wash the meat before you
It's
put it in the
half
pan.
cooked. It's half cooked. It is
It's chicken.
raw.
It's chicken rare. It's chicken rare. And if people don't get the joke, that means you don't cook, and I'm worried for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, that's the taste your song leaves in my mouth. It's like it's KFC's chicken. It ain't good. I'm sorry for anyone who likes KFC. And I'm wondering
That's
if when you
alright.
say it's a working,
It's all right.
like I don't like KFC that much. Anyway, I lost myself. Okay, no. Anyway, I'm wondering when you say it's a work in progress, if you mean the last step in the song is the vocal, because I'm stopping right there. It is not the last step for the song. And I lost myself again. Okay, yeah. If I were you, I would do a whole 360, and I would return to the drawing board, and I would analyze the fuck out of that track and do a whole new. And I would plan it out completely differently, because even vocals would never make a finished song. It does not sound finished.
It's
And
a
when
lot
it
of
comes
work.
to songs, yeah. And when it comes to songs with vocals, the smallest thing can break it. It's like if the vocals suck, even if the instrumental is amazing, it's gonna suck. If the lyrics make no sense, the song sucks. Like there's so many things that can fuck up a song. And while I'm not an expert in technique and shit like that, like don't ask me how to make something. I'll just say I don't know. I am good with songwriting. So here's my unfinished pointers. First impression, you just made a 60-second loop that you control B in the playlist in FL2 Studio and you call it quits. I mean, we've all done it, but we don't keep it. Your song right now, taking a similar metaphor to Blay, he said it's scaffolding. I call it a skeleton. In the sense,
Yeah.
right now you have your vibe. Like this sample is the vibe you're planning to transmit with your song. That's good, but it's not over. When my process usually is when I start with a vibe, I put the main important instruments in the rhythm and the beat, and then I tear it apart to pieces, and I go deeper. So, I should have had more time to write this down, but your song at the moment, it lacks structure, in the sense I'm listening right now and I have no idea what's the intro, if there is one, where are the verse, where is the chorus, is there a pre-chorus, is there a bridge, what will the end sound like? I have no idea. And once it's time for you to sing, you probably won't have any idea of where you're supposed to do what. And there's a lot of power in the way you structure a song, because the way you structure a song is going to deliver the vibe differently, especially when it's time. If you want your chorus to hit harder, you're going to have to prepare what comes first a certain way. So there's a lot of power in structure. So if I were you, I would go back to FL Studio, I would open the song, and I would start to visualize where I want what based on my lyrics. If you have a pre-chorus, where is it? Where does it start? What instrument would you remove? Had I would do that. Then what we don't make the same type of music. I think it's clear you have different inspiration, but like what instrument would you put an emphasis on? Would you keep you have this weird trumpet? Is it a trumpet? You have a brass thing. No, is it a brass?
It's definitely
It's
brass. I was
there's
actually
brass
just
in there. I don't know. Some things are trumpets. Some things are undefinable. I don't know. It's weird, strange MIDI sounds.
Yeah. Anyway, you have those MIDI sounds. Do you really need to keep them throughout the song? Spoiler alert, no. You don't. So honestly, I would just start with that. As the others mentioned, yeah, it sounds very you know when you have an electric piano and you just play the demo songs they already have? Yeah, that's how it kind of sounds. So yeah, obviously you had mixing and stuff. We really don't make the same kind of music, so I don't know what instrumentals you could add. But if you have lyrics yet, analyze your lyrics and see if the lyrics go with the sound, because the title, I don't know if the title is definitive, but the title is Addicted, and it's like, all will your lyrics sound like? Because if you have, I don't know, it's opening many doors. But yeah, check if your lyrics make sense. Like right now, the main focus, if I were you, is really structure and arrangement, because even as a singer, at some point it's so repetitive, you're gonna get lost yourself as you sing it. So yeah, just go on the structure and really like chop things up and decide, I'm keeping this, hey, I'm not keeping this. It's gonna help you a lot, because it doesn't have it's a big it's a skeleton. Now it's time to add the muscles. That's the best thing I can say right now, because I don't know what vibe you're going for, so I cannot give more pointers than that.
Make it a
So, yeah,
fleshy skeleton.
Yes,
It's
that's
kind of
it.
disgusting, but
many layers.
no, definitely agree with Radium there.
Like, yeah, cut it, chop it, remove, had. You're making a sim.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely leaves a lot of work. But yet again, interesting rhythmic ideas. Okay.
Yeah. There's actually a lot there. I clicked on I was clicking on the SoundCloud to go through it, and I just happened to see it here again. He posted it on SoundCloud also, so I clicked it on it again while y'all were talking, and yeah, I mean it's a little fuller when I turned it up a little louder and stuff like that, which whatever. It's just some elements.
It's really lacking though. It's really lacking though.
It's still very lacking. Yeah, it's definitely. Please take
Wait,
all
so
the
it's
feedback
public?
Yeah, I seen it on the thing, but it still says
Why is
whip.
it public? Okay, right.
Well, much like me, I put my stuff with this.
Skilled, how could you?
SoundCloud lets you replace your audio file and all that. I want people to share in the journey with me. All right.
Beautiful. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. All right. So that was the last track, right?
That was the last track. We're at the end of the stream of one of the most chaotic streams. I don't know if it was the most chaotic. I think I managed quite well. I don't know. Actually, maybe I didn't. I don't know. Probably I probably didn't. It was embarrassing. I felt alone.
Yeah, we
It's over. Yeah, you missed everything. I basically the first two submissions. The third one was with Guild. Yeah.
So I was confused on the time. I didn't know. Again, I didn't know what I thought it got pushed back an hour even on my time. It wasn't really
Yeah.
taken into consideration. It was just the
It-
scheduling for
Yeah,
UTC.
you gotta pay attention. UTC does not have any adjustments done to it, like daylight savings and stuff like that. So when I say it's moved back an hour, depending on where you live and whether where you live they make use of daylight savings.
But
For you, it might just be the exact same time as it used to be.
because of daylight saving times, yeah.
Yeah, because
But
UTC doesn't have the daylight savings.
So we're the one having to change it then from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. when that happens. Even though UTC doesn't change, we have to change it because we're using UTC.
Yeah.
Because we're doing it at 7 p.m. UTC, so then we change it to 8 p.m. UTC.
Yeah. For me, it was always 9 p.m. Central CEST. Now we have CET, so Central European Time. The other is Central European Summer Time. So now, and that was usually that was always 7 p.m. UTC, which was fine in summer. But now it's being back to the normal standard time, the winter time, Central European time. It's now an hour earlier. 7 p.m. UTC would be an hour earlier for me, which would be impossible for me to achieve. This is why I had to push back the UTC time, so I'd be back at 9 p.m. because otherwise I couldn't have hosted the streams anymore, and Guild would have had to relearn the software that I use specifically. So we decided to push it back. Yeah.
No, this worked out.
So always check the UTC time when you post things, and make sure what time zones you are in, and always reference that and check, because for most people it's probably staying the same just as it always was.
Right. Cool. All right. So should we wrap this up? I would just say real quick before you wrap it up, Blake. Everybody, so we got like 5 people so far submitted some sample packs to be added to the master pack for the community collab, and they're good samples. So the master pack will go up tomorrow down, and I'll broadcast it and I'll feature it and I'll make sure everyone knows that the master sample pack has been added to the community collab post. And
that's exciting.
Then you have the rest of the month to download the pack, create a track, and submit it into the community with the hashtag community collab. You can still add samples to the pack for the rest of the month. Just make sure any sample you add to your track or whatever, you also add it to the master pack, and put your names on the samples and stuff like that. These are supposed to be original, unique, custom samples. Don't just take samples from another pack. And so create some samples, submit the samples, and then download the sample pack, create a track, submit it to the community collab hashtag. We'll listen to them all on the first Saturday after the month ends or whatever. So cool. Community collab, November 2020. Look for the featured post in the community.
Yeah. Right. Awesome.
All right, Blake, I'm gonna let you wrap it up since you started.
Yeah. All right. Well, in that case, that was this week's feedback stream number 32. I hope you liked it. I hope the starting, I hope the first half of the stream was fun and you enjoyed messing with me, Archestic. All right. Anyway, yeah. See you all back on the community, and don't forget to submit to next week's feedback stream, which will hopefully go a bit smoother than today. The forms will be up, posted by it'll just be featured on MPA as usual. The form for submitting.
Yeah.
All right. So that's it. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Oh, bye everybody.
Bye.
Later. See y'all back in the community.